Hi everyone, my name is Sarah and I'm the Education, Inclusion and Youth Engagement Specialist at the VEC. I work with young people and educators across Victoria to ensure young people are encouraged and empowered to find their voice and use it to contribute to their democracy. Now, before we look at some resources, I'd like to first pay respect to Victoria's traditional owners and their elders, past, present and emerging, who've been custodians of this country for many thousands of years. Now, you may be wondering what exactly the VEC does. The VEC organises and runs the elections for the state of Victoria and for all the local councils in Victoria. Now, the VEC is an independent organisation. This means that the government's not in charge of the VEC and that we must be independent. We're like the umpires for local council and state elections, making sure that everybody plays by the rules. Therefore, everyone who works for the VEC must be 100% impartial. The VEC also looks after the Victorian electoral roll, which is a long list of all the Australian citizens who live in Victoria, who are eligible to vote and who have enrolled. Now, something not many people realise, though, is that the VEC is also mandated to provide information and education activities to priority groups, such as young people, so they can better understand how the voting process works. The first resource I wanted to show you today is an interactive on the VEC website titled "Which Boundaries Cover Where I Live?" Now, it can be found by following the link in the description of this video, or you can navigate from the homepage of the VEC website by finding the drop-down menu called Electoral Boundaries. This is an important resource as some of Victoria's electoral boundaries are changing. This means that you may be enrolled in and need to vote for a new district or region in the upcoming state election, even if your address has not changed. In order to use the quick search function, simply type in your address and a list will appear telling you the local council, district and region that your address is in. You can even click through and read more detailed information about each of these options too. For state elections, you'll be completing 2 ballot papers and electing representatives for both the district and the region that you live in. How to check your enrolment details. Another important function included on the VEC website is the ability to check your enrolment details. Now, again, it can be found by following the link in the description of this video, or you can navigate from the homepage of the VEC website by finding the drop-down menu called Enrolment. The next state election is on Saturday, the 26th of November, 2022. To vote, you'll need to be correctly enrolled by 8 p.m. on Tuesday, the 8th of November. You can use the Check My Enrolment lookup to check if you're enrolled and to confirm whether or not you've updated your details in the last 4 years. This is particularly useful if, for instance, you've moved house in that time. If you discover you need to update your details, this page includes a link for you to do so on the Australian Electoral Commission's website. Now, our dedicated Passport to Democracy website offers detailed lesson plans and activities for teachers and students, from grade 3 all the way up to senior school levels. However, there is also a third user pathway titled Young Voters. Visiting this page is a great starting point as it will help you feel more at ease and informed as you prepare to cast your first ballot paper. There is a synopsis of what to expect when voting for the first time, as well as information about enrolling to vote and how to research candidates. We also have a number of other community resources, including our Talking Democracy Kit, which is a civic education resource for people studying English as an additional language. By using this kit, students will learn about electoral keywords and concepts, the 3 levels of government in Australia, how to enrol to vote and update their details, who can vote in Australia, and how to vote correctly. There'll be a link to this resource in the description. We also have a resource called Voting is for Everyone to support people with a disability, which I'll also provide in the description box. Now, the VEC also has a YouTube channel, complete with short animations explaining the fundamentals of elections and voting, including this one, which is going to explain how preferential votes are counted. Let's take a look.
How preferential votes are counted. For the lower house of state parliament and many local councils where you're electing one councillor for your ward, the preferential voting system is used to count votes. This means that to be elected, a candidate must achieve an absolute majority of the total number of formal votes. In other words, more than 50% of the total formal votes. For example, if 20,000 votes are cast, the winner needs 10,001 votes. The votes are allocated to each candidate based on the voter's first preference, or where they have put the number 1. After they have all been sorted, the number of votes for each candidate is counted. If no candidate has achieved an absolute majority, more than 50%, a preference distribution is conducted. To do this, the candidate with the lowest number of votes is excluded. The excluded candidate's votes are inspected and allocated to the next preferred candidate, or where the voter has put the number 2. After this, the totals are counted again. If there is still no absolute majority, the next lowest scoring candidate is excluded, and again, their votes are redistributed to where the voter placed the number 2. If the second preferenced candidate has already been excluded, then the third preference is considered, and so on. This process is continued until one candidate receives an absolute majority of votes and is elected. So make sure you have really thought about your preferences, because around half of the lower house and council electorates are won on preferences. For further information, visit vec.vic.gov.au or call 131 832.
If you have any questions, please reach out to our education team using education@vec.vic.gov.au. Or of course, you can visit our Passport to Democracy website and fill in a booking form to organise an incursion or webinar for your students. Have a lovely day.